Bonham, and I'm a member of the Fannin County Historical Commission. It's my good fortune today to talk with Mrs. Edgar Bragg, who's lived in Fannin County all of her life. Mrs. Bragg, what were your parents' names?
My daddy's name was, oh, now this is the ugliest name I've heard, Almarine.
Almarine,
Yeah.
but he was called Al.
Al called Al.
Yes, Al Russell.
And my mother was Sue Johnson.
Yeah. And what about brothers and sisters?
I had 6 sisters, 2 brothers
Yeah. And where were you born?
out here at Seven Oaks.
Out at Seven Oaks, where the Seven Oaks Nursing
Yeah.
Home is now. When were you born? What year were you born?
January the 14th, 1898.
1898.
I always remembered that. I said I was called the Spanish-American War.
Where did you live during your early childhood? Was it
Out there.
out there at
Yeah.
that place?
Until
you
I
lived
was
in?
about 12 years old. My
I
daddy
see.
sold the farm, and we moved over on 13th Street, corner of 13th and Oak.
Yes. Now, out there where the Seven Oaks Nursing Home is now, at that time, that was a farm.
Oh, yes.
Yes, right.
Yes, he owned several acres north of the home, and then Uncle Jim Russell, owned, well, grandmother left a good deal of land, but Uncle Jim got more than my daddy did. And the farm was over there. We had a family graveyard, the Russell graveyard over there, you know how they used to do a long time ago.
Yes, right.
And I have, I think, 2 sisters and a brother. Years and years ago, he passed away when I was just quite a little child.
During your early childhood, when you lived out there at Seven Oaks, where did you go to school?
Bailey English.
At Bailey English School. Do you remember your first school teacher's name?
I think her name was Miss Baker.
Miss Baker.
Miss
Yeah,
Baker.
right. Do you recall some of the people that you went to school with the first year you went to school?
Let's see. Henry Joe Gale was one, and there was a Frank. What was his name? Frank. I can't remember.
I was thinking that there
And
might be.
there was a Covington boy. I can't remember his name.
I thought there might be somebody that still living here, you know, that went to school with you that when you were in school. Tell me something about your school activities and what you did at school and what your social life was like.
I didn't have too much social life. My daddy didn't. He loved to have a good time when he was a young man, but he was very careful not to let us get out too much.
I see.
Let's see, Miss Sally, not Miss Sally Baker. There was a Miss Baker who was my first grade teacher.
Yeah.
And there were two grades in that. There was a, there was a low first, and then there was, I think, the second grade. While we lived in the old building, and then they were coming. I've forgotten when Bailey English, the first Bailey English school, was built. You know, it was burned years ago.
Right.
But I remember I enjoyed school very much.
What did the children do to entertain themselves?
Played basketball.
Basketball?
And the boys played baseball. The little boys played baseball.
Yeah.
And my brother he played football. And they used to have some pretty good games of football.
What about church?
I started in the Baptist church when I was a little. I don't remember, of course, how old I was. I wasn't very old, and I've been a member there for. Well, I had been to church all my life up until my first baby came, and my husband was such a good Christian, and he was a Baptist, and I said, well, there's just one thing to do, and I went down one night and professed the Lord and was baptized in the old Baptist church. Do you have any pictures of that old Baptist church with the steeple?
Yes, we do have.
That was the one where I was baptized,
Yeah.
and my mother was baptized in that.
Yes, there is a picture of it down at the museum. It's real interesting. What kind of, as a young lady, when you were going out What kind of games did you play, or what did you do?
We played 42 and dominoes, and just met and had little sing-songs or something like that, you know, or played different little old games that didn't amount to much.
Do you remember the name of the preacher when you were baptized?
Brother Splawn.
Brother who?
Splawn. S-P-L-A-W-N.
Oh, yes, Bonham.
Mhm.
So you've been going to this church for a lot of years,
Yes, I have.
and it was where the new church is now. Was it on the same ground?
Well, practically. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mhm. Who did you marry when you got married? Who?
Edgar Bragg.
Edgar Bragg.
David Edgar Bragg.
And how many children do you have?
I had 4 boys.
You have 4 boys.
No, I don't now. I just have 2.
Well, what are your 4 boys? What are their
Well,
names?
James Edgar was the first one, and Richard Russell was the second one, and Weldon what?
Weldon Carey.
Weldon Terry. He was named after
Dr.
Dr. Gray and
Great.
my brother-in-law.
Mhm.
And
Weldon was named after what doctor?
Dr. Gray.
Dr. Gray.
One of the finest old Christian men you ever saw in your life.
And Dan was your youngest.
Yeah, Dan was named after an old boyfriend of mine.
Yeah.
Edgar always resented it.
What was your husband's occupation?
He was a contractor.
He was a building contractor.
Building contractor.
Yes.
Yes, he built many of the homes around here. And then schools. Let's see, son, where in South Texas did we go to build that school down there? Oh, no, it was barracks down there when they,
Yeah, during the war.
it was during the war.
Built the
He built the school over Gunter.
Yeah,
Gunter.
Gunter, and they built
Built
one
the
down.
courthouse back when him and Henry Allen was partners, they built the courthouse back
Yes,
in
when the-
1929.
Yeah.
29, they built the
Yeah.
31.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was the courthouse
Yeah,
here.
yes, it had the old steeple on it.
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes. There's a picture of that
Mhm.
there too. All this time you lived here in Bonham, so you've really spent your entire lifetime
Yes.
in Bonham.
Except one time when he went to, New Mexico, where he went to build those buildings, son.
Yeah, right on the
Outside of that was on town.
Yes.
He lived downtown.
Who were some of the early day merchants, business people that you remember?
Well, I remember Rosenbaum, a Jew, and everybody liked him,
Yeah.
and he was a lot of fun. One of my daddy's friends went in there one time. He had the biggest feet he ever saw in his life, he said.
Yeah.
And Mr. Rosenbaum tried shoe after shoe, and he said, what was his name? I can't think. Said, I think you're just going to have to wear the boxes.
Well, a lot of interesting things like that, I think, happen to all of us over a period of time. Do you think of any other interesting instance like that you can recall that has happened?
Well, they used to have the band concerts up on the courthouse lawn,
Yes,
and
they used to have a bandstand up there.
yeah. We enjoyed that, and then we used to have the circus would come to town, and that was a big point for the children, and me too. I love a circus yet.
Yes, I talked with a lady a while back who grew up out in the Ivanhoe area, and said that when she was a little girl, she remembered coming to Bonham to see Bonham and Bailey circus, and that was one of the longest trips up into the land she'd ever made in her life, and I think she only lived, just a few miles out. It's been real good talking with you,
I wish
Mrs. Bragg.
I'd had a more interesting life, but I've enjoyed my quiet, being here in this small town.
Sure.
I think a small town is a better place to rear your children.
Oh, I think so. I think it's a better place to live in a smaller town. It's been real good
You know
talking.
who's who and
Well, sure, you know.
and what.